In 1988, during the height of the Iran-Iraq War, the Persian Gulf had become a treacherous battlefield where no vessel was safe, whether merchant or military. Even U.S. Navy ships faced serious threats. One particularly dramatic incident occurred when the USS Samuel B. Roberts was nearly destroyed by a naval mine of unknown origin. U.S. Navy explosive ordnance disposal divers searched the area and discovered a shocking detail. The serial numbers on the mines matched those from an Iranian ship that had been previously boarded by Navy SEALs. In response, the United States launched Operation Praying Mantis, aiming to punish Iran and reassert dominance in the region. It would become one of the largest surface naval operations conducted by the U.S. since World War II. The main objective was to cripple Iranian naval power, but the mission also included a more unexpected and possibly unlawful target. Back in 1979, Iran underwent a violent revolution that overthrew the pro-American Shah and replaced him with the Islamic Republic led by Grand Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. This upheaval ended the close ties the U.S. Navy had once enjoyed with Iran, particularly in their joint Cold War alignment against the Soviet Union. During that era of cooperation, the U.S. had equipped Iran with advanced military hardware, including F-14 Tomcat fighters armed with Phoenix missiles, P-3 Orion aircraft, and Harpoon missiles. The U.S. was even constructing 4 destroyers for the Iranian Navy, though the project was abandoned after the revolution. These incomplete ships later earned the nickname Ayatollah or Khomeini class. In 1980, Saddam Hussein's Iraq launched a major offensive into Iran, hoping to exploit the turmoil left by the revolution. Beyond immediate opportunity, deeper causes such as territorial disputes, religious divides, and political tensions also fueled the conflict. Both nations fought to gain ground using vast armies, modern weaponry, and brutal tactics. The war stretched on for nearly a decade, with peace talks only beginning in 1988. The toll was immense. Trench warfare, chemical weapons, and aerial bombings left thousands of civilians dead or displaced, and entire cities devastated. As the conflict wore on, global powers, including the U.S. and the Soviet Union, increasingly supported Iraq. They supplied weapons, intelligence, economic aid, and diplomatic backing, all aimed at weakening Iran. Eventually, the war spilled over into the Persian Gulf. The Iranian Navy, still benefiting from prior U.S. training and equipment, posed a serious threat. In retaliation, Iraq began attacking Iranian shipping in the northern Gulf, sparking the so-called tanker war. By 1987, Iran had launched 168 attacks on merchant ships, while Iraq carried out over 283. The Gulf became a war zone. Kuwait, seeking protection for its oil tankers, turned to the international community. Some Kuwaiti tankers were reflagged under the U.S. banner to receive American military protection. In response, the U.S. Navy initiated Operation Earnest Will, escorting these reflagged tankers through the Gulf to shield them from both Iranian and Iraqi aggression. As 1987 turned into 1988, tensions between Iran and the U.S. escalated. Iran began laying hundreds of naval mines in the Arabian Gulf. Several ships were damaged, prompting international condemnation. The U.S. eventually captured the vessel Iran Ajr, responsible for deploying the mines. By early 1988, the U.S. Navy had received expanded rules of engagement, allowing it to take more aggressive action in the region. In February, the frigate USS Samuel B. Roberts arrived in the Gulf to support U.S. Navy efforts. Its duties included deterring Iranian warships and aircraft from attacking merchant vessels, maintaining security near secret mobile bases, and keeping the Iranian frigate Sabalan from interfering with commercial shipping. On April 14th, the USS Samuel B. Roberts was returning from an escort mission when lookouts identified 3 mines directly ahead. The ship came to a stop, and Commander Paul Rinn ordered all hands on deck. As the vessel attempted to reverse, it struck a moored contact mine. The resulting explosion tore through the hull, flooding the ship with over 2,000 tons of water and sending a fireball through the deck. Despite the damage, the crew managed to contain the fire and brace the superstructure, preventing the ship from sinking. Late at night, the Iranian ship Sabalan appeared, but maintained its distance. Though heavily damaged, the vessel managed to stay afloat and was eventually towed away. 10 crew members required medical evacuation, but all survived. This incident marked a turning point for the U.S. Navy, which decided it was time to take action and target the Iranian forces responsible for laying mines throughout the Persian Gulf. While ground battles continued between Iranian and Iraqi troops in the Al-Faw Peninsula, with Saddam Hussein's Republican Guard launching a major counteroffensive, the U.S. Navy initiated Operation Praying Mantis on April 18, 1988. The immediate goal was to neutralize the Iranian frigate Sabalin, which was believed responsible for the mine that damaged the USS Samuel B. Roberts. The broader mission was to weaken Iran's naval capabilities enough to prevent further mine-laying operations in the region. Operation Praying Mantis became the largest U.S. Navy surface engagement since World War II. Rear Admiral Anthony Less commanded the mission from aboard the USS Coronado, supported by Battle Group Foxtrot under Rear Admiral Guy Zeller aboard the USS Enterprise. The operation began at 8 a.m. when Surface Action Group Bravo reached Iran's Sasan oil platform. After issuing a one-time warning to evacuate within 20 minutes, some Iranians refused and opened fire using anti-aircraft guns. A Marine AH-1 helicopter responded, clearing the way for U.S. Marines to board the platform, capture one prisoner, collect intelligence, and plant demolition charges. Bravo Group then moved toward the Raksh oil platform with similar intentions. While en route, the group, comprising USS Merrill, USS Trenton, and USS Lynn McCormick, was attacked by two Iranian F-4 Phantom jets. However, the threat was quickly neutralized when the McCormick locked its missile fire control radar onto the approaching aircraft, prompting their withdrawal. To avoid escalation, the assault on the Raksh oil platform was called off, but another task force, Surface Action Group Charlie, continued its mission. After issuing a warning, the USS Wainwright, USS Simpson, and USS Bagley opened fire on the Siri oil platform. A shell struck a gas tank, triggering a massive explosion that killed members of the Iranian crew. In response, Iran dispatched speedboats armed with Soviet RPGs, machine guns, and assault rifles, directing them to attack any foreign vessels. These boats managed to damage one American, one British, and one Panamanian merchant ship. As the conflict escalated, an A-6E intruder aircraft from the USS Enterprise was launched to intercept the speedboats. Despite difficulty in targeting the fast-moving vessels, it destroyed one with a Rockeye cluster bomb on a second pass, causing the others to retreat. Iran also sent the Command-class missile patrol boat Joshan, commanded by Captain Abbas Malik. Although her specific orders were unclear, Joshan moved toward the Siri platform. 3 hours later, the USS Wainwright detected the vessel. Captain Chandler, aware that Joshan carried Iran's last remaining Harpoon anti-ship missile, issued repeated warnings, urging the ship to change course. Captain Malik replied that he was in international waters and would not engage provocatively. Ignoring the warnings, Joshan continued its approach and eventually locked its fire control radar onto Wainwright. Captain Chandler issued one final warning before Joshan launched its Harpoon missile. The Wainwright fired a Standard missile in response, and the USS Simpson nearby also opened fire. Joshan sustained multiple hits, leaving it severely damaged but still afloat. Remarkably, the Harpoon missile malfunctioned and passed close to Wainwright without detonating. In the aftermath, two Iranian F-4 Phantoms arrived, prompting Wainwright to fire two missiles. One jet evaded the attack, while the other sustained serious damage and returned to base with a large hole in its wing. Task Group Charlie then finished off the disabled Joshan. Later in the day, the Iranian frigate Sahand engaged U.S. aircraft with surface-to-air missiles. In retaliation, aircraft from the USS Joseph Strauss launched Harpoon and Skipper missiles, resulting in a massive explosion that sank the ship. Meanwhile, other U.S. Navy vessels from Task Group Delta approached the Bandar Abbas naval base. The Iranian ship Sabalin attempted to flee but was spotted by an A-6 aircraft piloted by Lieutenant Commander James Engler. After confirming the ship's identity, Engler dropped a laser-guided bomb that crippled Sabalin, leaving it dead in the water. This marked the final engagement of Operation Praying Mantis. Sabalin was towed back to port, and U.S. forces withdrew to neutral waters. The only American loss during the operation was a Marine Corps AH-1T Cobra helicopter, which crashed near Abu Musa Island. Despite a ceasefire following the operation, tensions between the U.S. and Iran would flare again in July 1988